Live. Let's just check our audio. Here we go. Check, check, check. Check, 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 check. That sounds nice. Hey, Julian's here. What's up, my guy? Hope you're doing well. That sounds nice. Hey. Yeah, it's late there, right? Isn't it past 10 o'clock? Okay, let's, oops, we gotta go back to here. Now we can see everything. Here. Hey, Noonan's here. Yes, we are definitely going to do some swings, work on the ball striking a bit. We're gonna do some driver work. You know what else? Because we need this space. We're gonna get rid of these plants. They're in the way over here. Oh, hello, Miss Lady. Hi, did you come to be a superstar? There we go. And I usually tee this up way over here on the side, guys, so that I don't hit the roof of my net. But yeah, got to do some driver work. The driver has been lacking, you could say. You know, the irons, all the work we've been doing on the ball striking in here, guys, has really paid off a whole bunch. Played some golf yesterday and hit the ball really, you know, probably like a 7 out of 10, but hit a lot of great iron shots. The driver, really, I think I hit 2 fairways the whole day. But kept it in play, no tee balls out of bounds or in hazards, which is really kind of a better definition of success. But I did find myself, you know, having to punch out or play around trees a little bit. Oh, you guys hear that? Wow, that was a crazy crack of my back. Really been working hard on this maintaining posture move and not, you know, throwing that club in the way down. More trying to really just swing it with our body better. I think as we've gotten later in the season, I've, you know, reverted to some bad habits and gotten back to that kind of really flippy release. So doing some work to try and iron that out. We're staying hydrated today, guys, with a Topo Chico lime with mint extract sparkling water. Julian says he's been practicing the low shots, sand wedge back in the stance. I love that shot. It's a really, really good one to develop. Would you get a when you go for? I'll do it, but would you just get a bag?
Oh, yeah. I just didn't know what the hand.
Oof. Hey, I see Liam's in here. What's up, Liam? It's the age, John. Getting older sucks. Well, I like to think that, you know, I have to spend more time stretching, but I also have so much more wisdom than I had when my body didn't feel quite as stiff. It just takes a little more effort and preparation to get the body ready to move. Keep it, you know, staying ready to move. If you guys have watched my indoor putting streams, you've probably seen the kettlebells that I keep up in my office. Been really trying to implement those to do some daily mobility work to try and, you know, maintain as much muscle mass as I can getting into my 30s. Mohit said hi. Hey, Mohit. Love the low-driven wedge. There once was a wise man named John 55 Fiddle-dee-dum. That's a good one. So always important, guys, when you're loosening up to start slow. Don't need to push the speed up to 100 just yet. You know, give your body some time to stretch, feel what needs to be moved and loosened up. You know, that could depend on the day. For me, there's certain things that I know will always be requiring attention, you could say. But, oh, hello, sir. Are you going to be a superstar? Sir, what are you doing over there? Huh? Huh? Ooh. So yeah, especially with, you know, I've done a ton of work to get my back to being functional and able to swing without pain. Slow kettlebell swings and stretches is what Julian says. I agree with that. I like doing the mobility work the most. I think that feels the most satisfying to me at this point in my life. You know, I have no interest in seeing, like, what's the most amount of weight I could move on a bench press anymore. However, you know, being very pliable and flexible, that is a goal of mine for sure. You know, be able to just get up and swing a club anytime you want. That would be amazing, right, guys? I'm not sure there's ever, you know, no amount of work makes you immune from having bad days, right? That's true with your mental health, your physical health, but doing that work does allow you to bounce back faster and, you know, understand that those bad days are temporary. Nice. That was a really quality rep there. Five birdies in our round yesterday, guys. That was pretty fun. Nice to see some putts go in, you know, hit some shots close. Give yourself some chances. Also, missed a few. You know, you're never going to make every birdie chance you got. Michael says, yo, I got my mermaid yesterday. Tell me more. What does that mean? What does that mean to get a mermaid? Like, were you on an expedition trying to hunt for one? Or is this a secret badge in a society? Can't emphasize enough, guys, how beneficial it is to do these slow motion reps when you're working on your swing, trying to change your technique or improve something, you just really got to slow it down, exaggerate the movement. Right, I'm trying to feel like my chest stays down. I'm almost feeling like it moves down. You know, trying to, like, whatever the opposite of what I was doing before was. Because I was just having, you know, I was coming out of it so much, it was starting to impact my strike quality. You know, the strike was getting kind of low on the face and out towards the toe. Pretty happy with that rep. I'm really trying to feel like that, like there's no flip, there's no, you know, throwing of the club. I'm really trying to just hold it, use my body to release the club. We're gonna be doing some more of the paddle drill today as well once we get loose. Starting to get there, you know, again, you probably need, for me, it's like 10, 20, 25 slower speed swings, and then I start, you know, feeling the blood moving, my muscles are ready to go. Pretty good there. That one I feel like I came out of it a tiny bit. But again, important to be able to recognize. Thanks, Julian. Appreciate you being here. Tattoos are whack, says KDR. I appreciate your opinion and support. Thought Sean O'Malley was on live. Yeah, I've heard that before. It's definitely in the top questions, you know, if I was to do like a top 5 FAQs I get on the live stream. One of them is for sure, are you Sugar Sean O'Malley playing golf? And what if I told you the answer was yes? It's not, by the way. It's definitely not. Nice. Really happy with those. All right. Probably grab a little bit of a longer club here, maybe like an 8-iron. Start doing some of these paddle drills, right, where I'm gonna try to take the right hand out as much as possible, guys. So that was pitching wedge we were warming up with. We'll grab an 8-iron. Ooh. I was thinking of getting a tattoo, but my said hell no. That's funny. My parents were also not particularly thrilled when I got my first tattoos. Well, I will tell you guys, I was somebody who I thought I got my first tattoo and I was like, that's it, I'm not getting any more. I'm just gonna have this one tattoo for the rest of my life, and that's it. And here we are. So the moral of the story is, You will be wrong about things. You know, you're allowed to change your mind. And I'll say this also, I think it's for the best that I didn't just have the one tattoo. It would have been a strange look, I think. Get some of this dirt out of here. All right, so we're gonna do a couple different drills here, guys. A few more swings to keep getting loosened up. But first drill we're gonna do, take the right hand, just gonna push on the back of the grip, right? It's barely gonna be on there. And we're just gonna go slow and learn how to, you know, keeping this connection, how to use our body to drive the movement of the club. But you have really good ones. What was your first one? Great question, Powder Girl. I had just this rectangular American flag on my arm, and it had, you know, 50 tiny little stars that all blended together after like a month. You know, I was 19. I didn't know what I was doing. They're like, you can just sign this paper and they'll give you a tattoo. I was like, sick. So that was the first one. I've had a whole half arm, you know, half sleeve of stuff lasered off and covered up. I've done some, you know, some cover-ups of different things and gotten things redone. So it's not as permanent as you're maybe led to believe. Certainly, you know, they can be changed and adjusted and updated over time. Right, so again, guys, we're just using this right hand. That last one was a really quality rep. I was super happy with that one. We're just supporting this club, driving it with our body and our lead side. Nice. So you'll see how it really forces you to maintain that spine angle. Right, because if you start coming out of it, well, without this right hand to flip the club and get it there, you're going to really hit it poorly. So in order to not do that, right, your body's going to say, okay, we need to stay in our posture, keep our chest, you know, everything down on the ball. And again, I'm doing this at a slower speed. Nice. So you can see, even without that right hand and making a pretty small swing, I'm able to generate a decent amount of speed, you know, with a good strike on the ball. It's going to hit that net and pop back to me. Hey, you got something on your arm. That's funny. Is that an 8-wood you're using? This is an 8-iron that I have in my hand. Do you always use strong grip with every club? I guess my grip is decently strong. I think it's more on the you know, kind of neutral, moderate side. See, like kind of 2.5 knuckles on my left hand. Won't let you down. This is all correct. I appreciate. Hey, we've convinced him, guys. Before he was saying this is all wrong. Now he says we've got it all right. Kraken had a personal best today, 49, 4 pars on 9 holes. Amazing, Kraken. Congrats on your personal best. That is very exciting. That is very cool. And I'm glad that you took the time to come out and check the live stream and tell us and share your news. That's very cool. So everybody drop a like, give some, you know, thumbs up. Show some love to Kraken on his personal best today. That's very cool. All right, so right hand, just supporting. Nope, that was hit very low on the face. But that's okay, we need that feedback. Nice, that was a great rep there. Just keying in on that, keeping this angle moving. Nice. Nice, that was really good. Boom. Just like that. Nice, solid, firm strike. And that's all a result of just really this lead arm and then the body releasing. You know, I'm not extending going this way, but really just having to turn, release the club. You can even try hitting some with just the lead arm. It's a little toey, but not bad. Topped it. But again, we need that feedback. Came out of it a whole bunch. So we just got to remember to stay down and nice. So you put it all together. We'll start at like a 3/4 speed. Back to the regular grip here. Boom. Hear that? Just that super solid, compressed strike on the ball. What's up, buddy? Did you see a squirrel? Oh boy. How exciting. Oh, it's chaos over here. Joseph, what's your favorite course that you play at? I don't know if I have a favorite at the moment. Have you ever got a hole-in-one? I've never had a hole-in-one, guys. I've been very close. I've hit the flag stick a couple times. You know, I've lipped out. It's like a 7-iron on a par 3. Pulled out from the fairway a few times, you know, made a bunch of eagles. Yeah, now we're really starting to ingrain that motor pattern. I can tell I just so much more, like I have to turn my chest so much more than I was before, to the point where, you know, just the finish position feels totally foreign to me. Like I'm used to being kind of like this, and now I'm just fully rotated, you know, in this very balanced position. It's just nice. I mean, these are the indicators along the way of progress, right? When you start to feel like you're doing something different, you know, the strike feels better. There will be, you know, feedback and signs along the way. So same thing, just very, almost like past, you know, the target line. If you guys are enjoying the stream, hit that like button. Drop a sub for me. Really does help us out. We are hurtling towards 5,000 subscribers here in our first few months still on YouTube. Very cool. So that just felt really kind of effortless and crunchy. It's just that really, like, when you catch it right in the center of the face. From Salt Lake, just subscribed. Amazing. Thanks for subscribing. Hey, Kelly. Hey, Baseball. Hey, Joseph. Hey, Leor. Hey, Wonky Golfer's here. What's up, Wonky? Congrats on your 40 today. 5 pars through 9 holes means you're right there, right? You just gotta, limit the damage on some of those holes that you didn't play quite as well. But clearly you're right there, if you're making par on more than half the holes you play. Hey, Stinka's here. Stinka said hi. Kai Guy said hi. I am having sort of one of those light bulb moments, guys, where you just are like, why was I not doing this, forever ago? Like, I could have just been swinging this way. It just seems so much easier than what I was doing before. It's crazy. It's just like the center of the face wants to fall on the ball every single time. Oh boy, there's another squirrel. What are we gonna do? No. That's enough. You. There's always something going on. Do you live near a second swing or no? I'm not sure. I have not looked to see if there's a second swing near me. Very important to stay hydrated, guys. How often do you go and play the course? Recently it's been about once a week, but I'm hoping to get to, maybe 2 or 3 times a week at some point. I do think that's been one of the things that's made it tough to not really, start shooting lower scores is I think you just have to be on the golf course 3, 4, 5 times a week, and that'll happen for me at some point. But right now we're doing as much practice and work as we can. Just a totally different release than what I'm used to, but it just feels so much less flippy. Hey, Johnny's here. What did we change? So I've really been trying to take, my swing had gotten very, a lot of the release was getting very flippy, right? Where I was really kind of throwing the club this way and standing up on it, right? I was hitting a lot of balls out of the toe. And so what I've been trying to work on is really just maintaining this angle in my wrists, down into the ball better while rotating around my spine, right? Not standing up and going this way, but just turning, right? Trying to, keep my posture through the swing. And so I've really just been drilling at slower speed, right? This release where it's just a lot more releasing it with my body and by turning, not by, you know, throwing it with my hands. So I'm doing a lot of this drill where I take my right hand and we just make like a paddle, stick that on here on the back, and then we just hit little half shots with basically just our left hand, right? This is just, you know, for support and to make sure it stays connected. But it really will force you to, like, this is a totally different position than what I was doing before, right? Simply by, you know, I can't, from that position, I can't, you know, apply enough leverage to cast or flip the club. So if I want to hit it solidly, I really have to just turn. Another one that's really helped me is, you know, take a full backswing and try to stop as fast as you possibly can post-impact. And by doing that, again, we're trying to keep these hips, you know, from going this way. And by doing that, right, by, you know, having to stop the club quickly, it makes it much harder for this hip to go up and out this way. Hey, Paul's here. What's up, Paul? This is an 8-iron, in fact. This is one of our TaylorMade Tour Preferred MB irons. Sam says, work your legs harder. I'm not sure I know what you mean, but tell me more. So now I'm getting closer to that, you know, kind of 80, 85, 90% type of speed. Trying to really just drill this, you know, kind of new release feel. And I think it's really smart to, you know, alternate. Do some fuller speed ones, and then go back to the slower speed as well. You know, we're trying to ingrain a new feel, a new motor pattern. Boom. Now we're really smacking it. What feeling are you getting on your left hand going around? Good question, Johnny. So to me, it feels much more stable. Instead of, you know, when I was flipping it, right, there's a lot of kind of like release in the left hand, like, you know, going this way, right, to kind of count, you know, account for that. Now it's much more stable. It's just a lot more, you know, kind of driving down, but like there's no break in it, right? It's just keeping that, you know, this angle here. So same kind of thing if you were to make some lead arm swings, right? It's not a throw like this, but it's a, you know, release and turn, right? But it doesn't ever go this way. Hey, behind you is here. What's up, guys? What are your average scores? I think my scoring average this year is 75.5, I saw. It's my scoring average. That's like roughly in line. Well, you know, in the last couple of years when I was playing better golf, it was more like 74, so maybe a shot and a half worse this year, which makes sense. I haven't played as much golf as I should to, you know, really keep my handicap lower. Double bogey on the other 4 holes, though, which mega frustrating as I'm confident in my ability out there. Hit some sweet shots today, though, and it was nice and sunny. Well, that's amazing, Wonky, right? That's, you know, I try to really remind myself of that stuff if I'm having a 1 out of 10 performance or a 10 out of 10 performance, right? If I'm out there playing golf, I'm enjoying the nature, you know, presumably I'm playing with either some friends, some, you know, company I enjoy, or making new friends, right? So there's always something for which you can be grateful if you get to be outside and play golf. You know, you can enjoy the fact that you're physically able to use your body to swing and play. You know, you can enjoy the time that you have, you know, not being at work or, you know, not doing other things you don't want to do. Feels totally different, but in a really good way, right? It's just so much more consistent, I think. Great question. What's your warm-up routine before a round? Great question. So ideally, you know, I like being able to hit balls or swing. You know, if there's no driving range of the course I'm going to, then oftentimes I'll hit in here. You know, I'll make some swings, get warmed up. But I keep one of these bands. These are pretty easy to find, you know, online or at your local sporting goods store. And I'll do a variety of stretches with this, right? Really focused on, you know, rotational stuff, right? Making sure that my, you know, thoracic rotation feels nice and fluid, right? And then also in my hips. So I'll do some like this, where I'll drop this here like this, and then do, you know, some supported, like, you know, hip openers and lunges, you know, so really working on like internal and external rotation in your hips, right? You know, this kind of stuff. Make sure that your hip flexors, you know, everything in this, you know, kind of front hip area doesn't feel restricted. Right, and this makes a big difference, guys. I used to be somebody who I just, you know, I go roll a few putts, hit a couple chips, and be like, all right, I'll just, you know, stretch out a little on the first tee, and you get to like the 7th hole, and you're like, all right, I'm starting to feel, you know, kind of loose and warm. You can just feel that way from the very first swing, right? Whether or not you have the chance to hit balls or not, right? You know, it just really takes 5 or 10 minutes of effort. You know, do some preparation, figure out, you know, the stretches you want to do. I think his name is Mike Malaska, something like that. I should know it. I'm getting it wrong, and I'm embarrassed. But he has an awesome YouTube video from maybe a decade ago where he runs through, you know, a warm-up routine, and a lot of it is focused on, you know, warming up the big muscles that you're going to need for a golf swing, right? You know, your forearms, your shoulders, your hips. John Rahm has a great TPI video from during COVID where he went through his, you know, 5 to 10 minute stretching routine. You know, he did a lot of like RDLs and, you know, posterior chain stuff. So these are all, you know, really good exercises. You don't need to do a ton of it, right? Again, it can be 5-10 minutes, but just, you know, run through 5 reps a couple times on each side. You know, try to keep your balance. Is it time for a new mat? Yeah, it's probably time for a new mat pretty soon. We're going to squeeze every bit of life out of this one as we can. But yeah, we you know, ripped up this side pretty good already, getting through that side, so it'll happen when it happens. If you think about it in life, if you always expect the worst, you'll never be disappointed. Well, that is one perspective you could have, Joseph. I would suggest that it also makes it hard maybe to be excited or for things to outperform your expectations. You know, I understand how you're feeling. I felt that way myself at different times in my life, but I've also found that, you know, really being present has helped me, right? And understanding that there will be good moments and bad moments, but none of them last forever. And you just deal with them the best way you can in the moment. And anything more than that is really expecting a lot out of yourself. You know, I think it's also okay to be disappointed if you never fail at things, or if you never try for something that you want. You know, if you have a big goal or a lofty goal, you're going to fail along the way. It's just a reality. You know, you're going to lose tournaments. You're going to, you know, get injured. You know, bad things are going to happen. But, you know, you have to set those goals and be able to, you know, willing to have that failure to get where you want to go. So that's my perspective. Maybe a little different. RD said, keep up the good work. John's smashing it. I appreciate that, RD. Never seen anyone stretch for golf. Well, you've never seen someone try to optimize their performance. Cathal said hi. Cathal Harley, can I have a shout out? You definitely can. What's up? Daniel said gay. Do you have something soft underneath to protect your wrists? Oh, great question. No thanks. So if you guys are interested in the whole setup, there's a video on my profile on my channel about how we built all of this, and you know, we talk about the net return and the tent and building this. But the short answer is yes. There are some. There's a bunch of padding and some mats under here, so that it, you know, like you said, is going to cushion the blow of swinging repeatedly into the ground. You know, right? Real grass is obviously much more forgiving. You take a divot. You know, this doesn't really have that, but by putting those mats in there and giving it a pretty fair amount of cushioning under there, it's made a big difference. You know, I swing out on here, hit balls for, you know, 60 to 120 minutes at a time on the stream, and do that probably 3, 4, 5 times a week nowadays. Tyler said nice setup. Thanks, Tyler. Maggie said nice tats. Thanks, Maggie. Where the dogs at? The dogs are around. They're just being, they're investigating the squirrels up there. But I'm sure they'll come say hi at some point. There's also, they don't know this, but there's some TREATS in my sweatshirt over there. So we could definitely get them over here if we were so inclined. I think I saw Sahil, one of our moderators, join the stream. What's up, Sahil? Hope you're doing well. Congrats on the milli views. Oh, thanks. Yeah, so that was just the last 28 days. That was really kind of crazy to me, guys. 1 million views in the last month. I think we're at like 4.4 million views overall on the channel, which again is a pretty mind-blowing number. Given, you know, it's not like I had a video go viral that was 2 million views or something. You know, it's all just been kind of brick by brick, day by day, showing up consistently, trying to make stuff that's, you know, interesting and entertaining for you guys. You guys keep showing up to support me. So, how many subscribers do you have now? I think we're at like 4,200 clicks. Have you listened to the Chasing Scratch podcast yet? I don't think I have. I might have to check that one out. I am a big fan of The Sweet Spot, which is a John Sherman and Adam Young podcast. I think they do a nice job, you know, talking about kind of in-depth, you know, more advanced golf stuff. But Chasing Scratch sounds interesting. I'll definitely go and check that one out. You know, I guess you could say I am chasing Scratch, right? I was, my low handicap, guys, is like plus 1.4. So I've definitely been, you know, Scratch or on the other side of Scratch for extended periods of time. But, you know, life happens, and sometimes you don't play your best golf. You know, I'm up to like a 2 now. So I'm not complaining by any means. Plenty of people would be thrilled to play golf as a 2 handicap, but it's, you know, it's all relative, right? That's, you know, going the wrong way for me. But there have been signs of progress, which is great. That's one. That's one. All right, so we're gonna go do some more right hand, you know, paddle on the back of the grip. Boom. Really just practicing that rotation Maintaining our spine angle through impact. Ah! Seen Ludwig Oberg do this drill a whole bunch, so I would take his ball striking, wouldn't you guys? Man, he hits it good, doesn't he? Nice. That one was a little... That was the stand-uppy one where I like this. Just a little bit. Ludwig is a future major champion. I agree with that, T-Time. Hey, Axel's here. Love to see you live again. Thanks very much. Any tips on correcting a strong grip? Yeah, Adam, I think you got to just, you know, grab a club when you're watching TV. Spending, you know, you got to spend hours and hours just gripping the club differently, right? So if your grip was really strong, like this, right, and you're trying to get it a little more neutral, right? Just keep a club around when you're watching TV, hanging out, and just, you know, just practice gripping it the way you want to, right? It's going to feel really weird at first. It's just about time, you know, how much time can you spend on grip, you know, with the new grip. Yeah, Ludwig is so good, guys. He just, it seems like every shot he hits. Number one, he plays super fast, which is unbelievable to watch. I love watching professional golfers that play fast. He just hits every iron like on a rope, it seems. Just straight up in the air. Just flush every time, it seems like. Nice. So this is only the second day that I've really been doing this drill consistently, and I can already tell we're making a lot of progress figuring it out. Boom. So then we'll do that, and then we'll just, you know, so that was 5 or 10 balls. We'll go back to our normal grip, try and incorporate some of that stuff, some slower speeds. Boom. Can really tell in the follow-through is where I'm feeling it the most, guys. You know, it used to be that really kind of flippy, kind of like this, and now it's just so much more, you know, around, and, you know, the club face feels more stable. Like we're not just throwing it. Sahil got my first birdie the other day. That's amazing. That's very fun. 295 viewers, guys. Shout out to you guys. Hit that like button for 295. That's crazy, guys. Thank you so much for all the support on the channel. Also, if you haven't already, guys, we are putting out some cool stuff over on Instagram. If you are on Instagram and you want to follow us there, you can definitely do that. Get a little more of the, you know, day-to-day Instagram stories, things that are going on, things I'm working on. All right, let's do some hit and stop drills. So we're gonna make a full swing, try to stop this golf club as quickly as we can after impact. That was decent. It was a good strike. Just want to be able to stop that club a little quicker. Also, for me, what it feels like is this right hip, you know, I have to almost feel like it goes this way instead of like, I know that is the whole point of what I'm working on, but it's just very hard to feel sometimes. You know, I'm trying to feel almost like there's a wall here, right? And this hip just has to go along the wall, right? It can't go this way. That was a good rep. Whew, sweating out here, guys. That is a good suggestion, Sahil. I would need to solve a different issue, which is having the camera plugged in while we do that. Is your mat elevated? It's not elevated, it's dug into the ground a bit, actually. That is a good point, though, Sahil. I could probably put the laptop over here if I found space. All right, so we'll do a few more of these hit and stop drills, and then we're gonna get the big dog out. Nice. That was hit hard. Might have been a tiny bit flippy. Fernando said hi. Hey, Rodrigo. Oh, I hear what you're saying, Rodrigo. This is just a drill I'm doing, so don't sweat it too much, right? If we were to hit a normal, you know, full 8-iron, right, it'd be more like this. Right, more of this, you know, kind of fuller follow through. Feels like getting a little bit long in the backswing, maybe. A little bit Tommy Fleetwood-esque. You know, it's funny you say that, T-Times, because people have compared me to Tommy Fleetwood a number of times. If they're not saying either Sugar Sean O'Malley, they're saying Tommy Fleetwood. These are TaylorMade Tour Preferred MB irons from 2011, I think these came out. You should get a 10 by 10 by 10 net. Do you mean hitting net or canopy? Tell me more, Evan. I'd love to learn more about your setup. Can always improve and enhance these things. Also, guys, pretty exciting. It's nothing official yet, but I have been talking to a potential partner to get a launch monitor set up in here, so that'll be pretty exciting if we're able to make that happen. That was pretty good. Got it stopped around the waist. Again, we're really just trying to stop this club as quickly as we can. Because again, it's that acceleration and then deceleration that keeps this hip going this way, not going that way. Pretty good one again there. Also, I have a Garmin launch monitor. Oh, cool, Evan. Will you get hurt if you grab the ball with all your might? Because I want to build a training area like yours. I think, you know, managing your speed and not injuring yourself is a pretty personal thing, but I've not had any issues with it. I would tell you, you know, if I could do one thing differently in hindsight, I would have put the mat not centered on the tent so much, but I would have it off-centered, right, such that the peak height of the tent, you know, better overlapped with the peak height of the swing, right? Because if I stand here where it's centered on the follow-through a couple times, I've clipped the canopy over there, right? So now when I hit drivers, I just have to go off to the side. But you can obviously still find a way to make it work. This is not a high-tech operation to begin with, so, you know, we're just trying to figure it out and make it work as we go. But I would tell you the driver has been the weakest part of my game for sure. That was hit well though. And I think honestly, guys, it's just about reps. You know, I've been hitting a ton of irons, a ton of wedges in here. The wedges have been honestly the best they've been in years. I mean, I've been stuffing some wedges and short irons recently. Hey, Sahil, thanks for being here. Had to adjust Matt, also off center. PB said slice. That's so cool. Thank you so much. Well, the good news is we'll never know. Yeah, it was a little flat-footed, I would say. But we'll make it work. So again, I'm mostly working on setup here, guys. I had started getting really far away from the ball, right? And I was hitting a bunch of big pulls, just really having to reach for it and go this way. So I'm trying to set up a little more on top of it. I can't tell you what a game changer it'll be to have a launch monitor out here, because we will really be able to, you know, in real time say, okay, we need to bring the launch up, we need to bring the spin down. Let's see how that swing looked. Pretty good. Any tips to a beginner that's sending the ball right consistently? Yeah, so I would tell you the easiest way to practice that, next time you're on the range, learn how to hit a big hook, right? If you're hitting it out to the right, you're slicing it a bunch, learn how to see the ball go the other way, right? You're gonna need to get that face more closed and probably the path more neutral, right? But give yourself a task orientation. You can say, hey, I'm gonna, aim as if I'm gonna hit it right down the fairway or, to center field, right? But force yourself to hit it into the left trees, into the, down the left field line, right? Within the confines of your own swing and skill level, what you're trying to build is the skill of club face and path awareness, right? You want to be able to ultimately, deliver this club in such a way, or be able to alternate, right? To say, okay, I want to see a left to right shot, or a low shot, or a high shot, a draw, right? That's all because you're building the skill of controlling the club face and the path, right? To alter that ball's trajectory. So that's what I would have you do. That was a pretty good one. I felt solid. Just hitting it hard. It's been malfunctioning a bit recently, but we should get the launch monitor out and see if we have one. It does work okay for the driver sometimes, this PRGR one. All right, so that was 160. Oh. $107, $159. $108, $161. Oh. $109, $160. Smash was down. Ugh. For how poorly my body has been moving, not all that upset with where those numbers are at. Yeah, that's a good way to phrase it. Tried that one, Mike. Oh, I think, Andy, I think like one of those budget ones, even if it's like an MLM2 Pro or an R10, I think it's definitely going to be helpful and beneficial in your growth as a golfer. I think, there's been a ton of good testing videos about the, comparing the MLM2 Pro to like a TrackMan, and it seems like it's about 98, 99% accurate from what I've seen. So I don't think you have to worry too much. $110, $162, $296. I'm really working hard on not throwing this club, right? I'm really trying to keep the hands in, and we're just, rotating. 112, 166. We like that. That's a big jump. $166, $303. $111, $166, $302. Come on, let's keep swinging faster. Turned into a little bit of an impromptu speed session here tonight, guys, but that's going to happen sometimes. I asked about the driver on your net. Here we go. Yeah, here you go, Shane. I'm glad you're here to see it. $112, $164. Oh no. $112, $167, $305. Do have to be careful. We hit barely grazed the top of the net over there. Didn't read it. Got nothing. $116 club head speed. I hope that's right. Didn't pick up any ball speed, but 116 would be another big jump. Nope, didn't read anything. See, this is my problem with this launch monitor is it'll be okay for a minute. And then after, a few swings, it's like, I don't want to read it anymore. $108, $162. I do think there's just a small bit of hesitance still because of hitting the top of the net, but $112, $166. I was watching, you guys ever seen Cordy, I think his name is, Golfwell TV? Does a really good job, he did like a swing speed, club ball speed challenge on YouTube a while ago. Have you seen Tiger Golf TV swing? Yeah, he's an awesome, very, smooth swing. Monique is here. Hey, guys. Hey, Garrett. Ooh, doubled the 16th. Hate to see it. 75 today is fine, though. That's a good score still, Garrett. Golf is weird. If the ball's going right, then you're striking the ball with the club face open. play, and play some more. I love that, Wonky. Really good call. So I have been trying to incorporate more of this lateral shift off the ball. That's going to go really far. After watching, you know, Cordy and his swing, you know, and him talking about his journey, trying to add speed and 164, 299. All right, here we go. $111 is all we got. $112, $165, $301. Where did my tee go? You know what we can do? We can watch back the video and see. Oh, there it is. Look at that. Garrett's like, I see it. Yeah, it's right there. I'm so used to it flying all the way to the net. Come on, golf ball. There you go. $112, $164, $300. Oh. I wish my hip felt better doing that. Just a lot of torque going in there, I suppose. Better than working. Oh, good call. Yeah, you got it, Garrett. QI10. This is the max head, guys. I do have it turned down to 7 degrees. That's to keep the face a little more open and keep the spin down. $164, $300. All right, come on. Let's start touching like 170. We gotta get it into gear here. That felt fast. 164, 300. $164, $299. Well, that's pretty consistently right there with a, you know, relatively manageable swing. No, totally necked it. 162. This is the old PRGR monitor that I've been using, Garrett. It's just very inconsistent. But, like I said earlier on the stream, nothing is official yet, but I have been talking with one of the you know, name brand watch monitor companies to see if we can find a way to get their product out here on the live stream and showcase, you know, what it can do. What's the speed if you swing at 80% but improve the strike? Well, I'll tell you when we get there. If I really swung at like 80%, let's try that. .106 is what it dropped down to. Club head speed. It's not going to give me ball speed on that one, of course. Strike was good though. .158, 286. So, I don't know, 6 to 8 miles an hour of ball speed. I mean, 286 is obviously more than playable. .107, 162, 294. That was maybe not even 80%. But yeah, you're not wrong that obviously improving the strike is going to keep that ball speed up. 286 down the middle will play about everywhere. Yeah, I don't disagree with that. There we go, 166, 302. .163, 298. .113, no ball speed. 113 is good. Well, it was like, what, a month or two ago, guys, when I started doing some speed training and kind of hurt my knee. And how long have you been playing golf? Probably like 18 years, I would say. Seriously. Right, I'm in my early 30s, you know, since high school. .159, 289 with that 80% swing. You guys might be right. It might just be I gotta trust it on the golf course. I do think warming up like this, I mean, had I not, you know, had already hit 20 drivers, would I be swinging it that fast at 80%? I don't know. Nothing. Ugh. There we go. .161, 293. Yeah, that was not hit well. .161, 293. Oh, maybe running out of gas a little bit, guys. That's okay. What's your longest drive? I don't know. I mean, the highest ball speed I've ever seen on TrackMan was like 180. You know, clubhead speed was like 120, 121 back then. That was in college, though. That was a long time ago, guys. I used to hit it, you know, that was pretty good. You know, hitting at 180 on the golf course is fun. But you get a lot of injuries, you stop, you know, you lose some flexibility. Just cannot generate that kind of speed anymore. $162, $294. Oh. 142 on the smash. That was bad. The idea here, guys, is to elevate the ceiling, right? You want to make it so that, you know, 100% swing just gets faster, such that you can swing it, you know, 90%, 80% on the course. I find when I swing 80%, my strike improves. I barely even lose a couple miles an hour swing speed, so worth it for me. Yeah, I think you're onto something. I do think if I could figure out a way to consistently have that, you know, 80% swing and actually hit it straight still. My problem is when I start trying to guide it, I hit it short and crooked. It's almost like I need, you know, the speed to be in that like 95% range. Yeah, see, that's way down, 155, 279. Right, because then if you try to swing it, you know, swing it smoother and you miss the center of the face. $162, $296. That was hit better. If I'm seeing anything on watching these swings back, it's mostly needing to turn more in the backswing. Like I have so little shoulder turn and I kind of lose the depth. It gets over the top. Miles says, "Are you proud of me? I got a girlfriend." That's very exciting. Congrats, Miles. Played a little in high school, but wasn't serious. Oh, that makes sense, Garrett. Very cool. I'm buying a net return, just don't want to spend more money on a mat. If it's soft, is it okay? Yeah, it is, Aiden. You know, I wouldn't worry about it being too soft, right? You want some cushioning underneath it to, you know, cushion the blow, right? If you're hitting lots of irons off of it. Also, Aiden, if you want to save 10% on your net return, use the code in the description. Use my link, you'll save 10% off your net return purchase. So, could be worth a decent amount of money, depending on which one you're getting. All right, guys, let's hit a few more fast ones. $164, $300. It does feel like the club gets a little bit more behind me. It's also not the perfect angle. All right. Try the Bryson drill, where we just, you know, kind of force those hands to come down. Right, it just gets so steep. Even that, it just gets steep. I have a Net Return Pro 10. Very cool, Rage Bait. Is your natural swing a draw? I would say the opposite, actually. My natural ball has always been more of a fade. But I go back and forth. This is a QI10 Max with an Oban Kiyoshi Purple X-Flex shaft in it. I built a sim studio space in my lounge. I'm running the OptiShot 2 sim software at the moment. Had to go with the absolute cheapest of Spectrum to be certain sim space would work. I think that sounds like a great setup, Wonky. if you've got a way you can practice and you've got some good data, you're having fun with it. $160, $292. 112. Trying to add a little bit of Kyle Berkshire, you know, keep the feet moving. $112, $163, $298. Yeah, I think we're just getting tired, guys, because that felt pretty close to what I've got left in the tank. So maybe try one more. Maybe we'll just do, you know, for you guys, we'll do the nice smooth 80%, try to middle it. You know, just hit like a nice high fade down the fairway. Let's see what kind of data we get. $107, $160, $292. Yeah, I mean, I could play 290 down the middle. Couldn't I? Should work. $109, $161, $292 again. I think the answer is maybe just, you know, really get loose before I go and play. Not just stretch, right? But, you know, get like 10 minutes of swings in. Hey, JQ, party hard. This is a QI10 Max. Ragebait has a QI35. Very cool. This is a PRGR. I don't know about the Go Sports one. I rewatched the Monty no-turn cast stuff for the first time in a long time. Magically picked up 5 miles an hour today. That's awesome. For 500 instead of 700. I don't know. That doesn't seem like enough of a value to me. Like enough of a discount to warrant going with a replica, but it's your money, Aiden. I don't think anything, you know, certainly you can give it a try. Even that, like that was really smooth. Still, you know, 287. What I really want, guys, is a higher quality launch monitor, so we can get, you know, some club data potentially. $287. So if we're really going to smooth it, at least, you know, we have some speed. I think it's just I needed some reps to really feel that tempo again. Yeah, see, that's totally fine. We can hit a 290 and be in play. Been trying to do some dumbbells at night to get a bit stronger. I think that's a great idea. I've been doing the kettlebells. Garrett has a QI35 and like it as well. As long as you can point and shoot. I agree with that, Shane. I know it would be nice to be able to just, you know, start hitting a bunch more fairways. I've been hitting it kind of all over the place with the driver. Do you guys want to see the dogs? Dogs, you want treats? Well, I might have lost them anyway. They were in here, and now they're not.
You might have to do this call.
Oh, that's okay. All right, so I'm gonna hit some more wedges. Just go back to working on some of that ball striking stuff for a few more minutes, guys. And we'll probably wrap it up just past, we're at what, 90 minutes right now? We also got a really good idea of maybe setting up, we won't be able to hit drivers and keep the laptop there, but we could probably move the laptop over there for a more seamless experience. Just like that, guys. What you want to do is hit the ball when you're not intending to. Oh, I can turn this off. Save the battery. I can feel it. I can feel the difference in the release. That one was maybe a little bit steep, it felt like. Do you do any weightlifting? Yeah, I do kettlebells. Keep those in my office, and I'll do, you know, deadlifts and squats and stuff. Been trying to do that every night recently. I've been doing a better job. I used to be, my wife and I used to do, you know, this kind of CrossFit gym, almost. It's like CrossFit adjacent. Was doing a lot of really intense workouts a couple years ago, and that was really fun. Wish I kept up with it, but life is what it is. Really happy with the strike on these guys. Let's try our paddle hand again. Love it. What are you barking at? What are you barking at? Huh? Wedge game and putting is usually best in my game. That's awesome. Yeah, me too. Well, maybe not so much the putting, but yeah, I've been hitting a lot of good iron shots recently. You know, I feel like each of the last several rounds I've played, I've had, you know, a shot in that like 70 to 110 yard range where I truly don't have to putt it, where it's like inside of a foot. I actually holed one earlier this year from 105. That was pretty cool. Just really hitting, wearing out the center of the face, as they say. That's it. That's what we're looking for. Again, guys, I want to say one more time, thank you so much for all the support on the channel recently. I couldn't do it without you guys. We are hurtling towards 5,000 subscribers, not even, what, 9 months into our YouTube journey. So I can't wait to see what the future holds. Keep making cool content for you guys. I'm just so grateful for all the support, all the subscribers, all the new subscribers, all the returning people coming back who said, hey, this was cool, I want to, come here and hang out again. So, thank you guys. All right, I think that is all we're going to have time for today. What's the furthest you've hit the flag from? Great question, Wonky. In a club championship a number of years ago, I hit a hybrid from like 220 that hit the bottom of the flag stick and ricocheted like 40 yards off the green, made a bogey in a tournament. So I've definitely been close to making a hole-in-one. Haven't done it yet, but we're going to keep trying. See if we can do it someday. Thank you guys again for being here, checking out the stream. Wow, 122 likes on the stream. You guys are nuts. That's crazy. Thank you so much. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button for me and get those notifications. We'll see you next time.